I don't care what you do. Just try not to get on my nerves. Dealing with you is just a waste of my time. What? Why are you staring like that?
Hey guys, what's going on? Valky here, and I'm back again today with the Lethe video. So now that we are finally not talking about Navy Captain Landy, I can calm down a little bit. If this is the first video you've seen from me in a while, go ahead and watch the ML Landy video that I put out a little bit right before this, link in the description, and you'll have context on why I haven't been uploading for about the past month. But we got basically a big info dump today on the upcoming update, and I'm pretty hyped about it. Lethe, first impression. This is the first character ever introduced in the side story. If I recall correctly, I don't think we've ever had that before, and I think she's definitely breaking new grounds with her skill kit. Like Conqueror Lilius, she has high speed, good bulk for a warrior. Her team imprint is good for turn 2 players and bruisers, and her self imprint is better for faster playstyles. Her S2, Dreamers in the Deep, gives her a free soul burn and a 100% chance when fully molled to inflict Omen on the opponent, regardless of whether or not her attack hits. So this kind of builds up the context of what she does. It cannot be activated by counterattack, dual attack, extra attack. So no shenanigans. She needs to be built fast, or she needs to be built at a moderate speed to make sure she takes her turns consistently. And on top of that, we have a new unique mechanic. It is called Omen, and I think it's really interesting. It's basically her boss mechanic, and it opens the door to new possibilities down the line for other heroes. And I think that's quite interesting. The really crazy thing about it is it goes through Effect Resist, Dispel, Miss, can't be transferred, and can't be applied by immunity. So it is basically not a debuff, and it will stack up to 3. And there it is. There's the extra turn. So she gets 1 free soul burn. Her S3 is an AoE that decreases buff duration by 1 turn, and then when fully molled, will have a 100% chance to both inflict frostbite as well as restrict. I think these debuff gives her some control to be able to set up for aggressive plays. 1 turn strip plus high base speed gives her a utility a little bit like Conqueror Lilius. I think this gives her a good amount of support to enable aggro, but not for full cleave, since she would like to be built most likely with an HP ring, and you'll see in a bit why. Not having an effectiveness ring means you can't really stop these CR pushing units from stealing your turns, which is kind of deadly in cleave, but for aggro teams, usually you can kind of slow down and have ways to stabilize versus these units. So not the worst in aggro, but seems like she'll be really hard to play in cleave, although this is an AoE, and we all know who loves AoE, so I'm holding my breath for that one. Now, this is where it comes in. Her S1. Self-speed buff means building her at 200 speed will mean she's effectively at 260 after her first turn. If you build her 300, that means she'll be 390, since speed buff is 30% of your speed. She scales with speed really hard because she wants to stack Omen on her opponents, and I think she'll need it too. And when you stack the Omen to 3, it consumes all of their Omens and activates Call of the Abyss, which is her big Kraken skill from the side story that everybody has seen way too many times now. So this thing kind of does a lot. So it's a true damage nuke, scales with health, cannot crit, which is cool. And on top of all of that, when it kills, it extincts. And oh yeah, not to forget, even if it doesn't kill or not, it's going to recover health of all of Lethe's allies, which does kind of a lot. What does that mean? Well, it means, one, she can be played aggressively, she can be played in standard bruiser matchups, and on top of all of that, if you're playing her with a, for example, Meat Eater Coerc, Last Rider Crowd comps, which is decently popular right now, You'll also have a unit that not only can nuke opponents, but also sustain them, which is one of the biggest weaknesses of that composition. So she's packing quite a kit. And an extra attack means she has immense synergy with Frostbite, because Frostbite will prevent Aureus Escort, and we saw from the video, Sage Vivian passive from working, Proof of Valor from working, so it's going to hit decently hard. As far as her artifact goes, I think it's basically made for her. It has everything she needs. More HP, more damage, and then more damage for extra attacks again. Now, while this looks like one of those reasonable artifacts, this is actually quite pay to win. Scaling with HP, scaling with damage, and then scaling additionally with damage kind of scales with each other. If you think about it this way, she's already an HP scaling unit, and on top of that, she gets more damage, which is multiplied on top of the HP. So in that sense, you kind of need this artifact in order to make the most out of her. So if you have those precious powders of knowledge saved up in your store, make sure you powder at least one copy. As far as how Lethe can be used, I see her being used mostly in two ways. HP and speed for aggressive team comps, or effect resist and HP for turn 2 comps. Normally, we have to wait for the damage ratios to come out, but there are a few things we can calculate based on what we already know from the video. We know her HP, we know her damage output, we know she's on her own artifact because it shows up when she's attacking. We know the enemy's damage taken, and Frostbite ignores damage share as well as mitigation, meaning we can actually calculate out how much damage she does. So we'll take this moment to fast forward to a future part of this fight where Lethe's extra attack does about, let me move my head, guys, 18,361 damage. Let's just call it 18,000. She has an HP total of about 26,000, as we've seen from the video. A little bit hard to see here, but we can see it's 26,000, meaning that at 26,000 HP, which probably includes the additional amount of HP granted by her artifact. An MLB artifact at 26,000 HP, which does about 70% of her HP in damage. Now, that's not a bad scaling. I don't think it's crazy good for how long it takes to set up on a unit. So somebody in my Discord made a really good comparison to Dark Corvus, even though I don't agree with how they can be used, because I don't think you can use them the same way, but the comparison is there. Both of these units nuke for true damage, scaling with HP, and can lead into an extinction. I think Lethe having a smaller kill margin, so if you think about it this way, anything that's a mid-tier Soul Weaver or squishier will be killed. But mid-tier Soul Weaver, the tanky ones, and higher, will just be able to survive and sustain out the rest of her damage. Especially in this meta where there are a lot of knights and supports, you can expect that if you don't one-shot a unit, they're going to come back and they're going to try to run you down if they haven't run her down already. So all in all, Lethe is a really interesting unit with a unique kit, solid stats. She has a kit that on paper sounds amazing. It's got true damage, sustain, extinction, frostbite, and ignore element in one almost really fluid combo. And on top of all of that, she can do it through ER and immunity, meaning she can just kind of bully a lot of units, especially those pesky Soul Weavers that have a lot of effect resist, and people just draft them incessantly nowadays. But I think there are a couple core problems to address. She's very weak to crowd control, which is very, very common in this meta right now. She has a limited counterplay versus stealth unit, which is one of the main ways that a lot of people actually set up their aggressive damage dealers, myself included. And I think the biggest problem with her is that she requires setup with a very big variable as a payoff. Because on the turn she is taking, you can see she's basically doing not a lot of damage until the Kraken rolls. So in total, I would say it's really hard to conclude whether or not she'll be good. Even though we have her full numbers, we have to play test because it seems like even as a bruiser hero, you need to play her decently aggressive and try to snowball the lead that she can create and kind of push her to activate as many omens as she can. Because otherwise she just gets run down by the opponent, who is just going to focus her down and punch her down. So, that being said, that's my first impression on Lethe. Let me know what you guys think, or if you think I missed something. And for now, that's the video. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for joining me today, and thank you guys for watching. I should have a review of the whole patch coming out, probably in the next day or two. And on top of that, we should be getting a balanced patch sometimes this week on Friday, as usual. So if you guys are excited for that, don't forget to drop me a like and a subscribe. If you think there's something I missed, feel free to talk about it in the comments down below. I'll be around all day to reply to them. But for now, that's all I got for you guys. Man, it's been so long since I did this, I forgot how to do an outro. Bye.